What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Adobe Photoshop Masterclass course. This right here is going to be file types. So, one final thing to familiarize ourselves with before we get cracking with the meat of the course and really get into it, right? The final part of the basics is going to be file types. File types is something that you honestly could go your entire project without finding out about until the end, and then you could be stuck on it and not too sure what to do. So first off, let's familiarize ourselves with a project file. Project file is PSD. This stands for Photoshop Project, basically, right? PSD is the actual, the abbreviation, and you can actually go ahead and save your stuff by going up here to File and Save As. Save As is going to appear right here. Alternatively, you could press Shift-Control-S, Control-Shift-S, but we'll be covering that extensively in our keyboard shortcut section, which I think is going to have to be a two-parter because of how many shortcuts there are in this program that are, being used in every project. So let's click Control-Shift-S, the shortcut, and what we can actually go ahead and do is know to go here, and actually go ahead and select our Photoshop Masterclass course. And what we can do is hover over the type. Now, type, it clearly goes to PNG right away, but we're looking at PSD, Photoshop Project. We can click that. PSD is clearly selected right there. And if we actually save this in the Adobe Photoshop Masterclass course, we can press OK. What that has done is loaded up an exact project of this. So, for example, if we go here, as you see, this is a PSD, a Photoshop project. And what we can actually even do is if we were to, for example, shut this down right here and go back over here, we could double click that and it would preload it, or it would just reload it rather, back up onto the screen, back exactly where we were. And that right there is a project file, right? So if you're ever deep into a project, be sure that you're saving your PSD, because that right there is going to be how you're going to be able to reload your project. Now, if we actually go here and go recent and actually open the Very Fashion logo again, we know we're dealing here with a transparent background. Now, if we were to actually go ahead and go up here to File, go to Save As, and select this as, for example, a JPEG, right? And it's funny how that jumps to my Very Fashion project right there. But if we were to save this logo as a JPEG, which is a totally normal picture format, right? Totally normal image file. And we were to actually go ahead and save that, right? Once you save this, you can select the quality. So if we were to save this maximum quality as a JPEG and press OK, we would actually come over here, double click it, and we'd have nothing because it's just a white background. And the text has basically disappeared because we haven't actually been able to save this as a transparent image. So it completely ignores the fact that there's a transparent background, and you don't even see the text. It's gone. Also, what file types do support transparent background? This is something you have to keep in mind. And the file type that supports transparent backgrounds, meaning that you can save this and it will come up as just the text on its own, is a PNG. So if we actually go up here and go File, and we go to Save As, and we actually navigate back to our Photoshop Masterclass, PNG is the actual file type we want to select, and we can go ahead and press Save, and the PNG format options will come up here. We can go ahead and press OK, and we can go back to our file. We now see that the words Very Fashion are there. Now have a look right here. If we zoom in, of course, we're dealing with a white background, so you can really only see them, as you see, because it's a white text on a white background. You can only see it when you hover it over, but Very Fashion is indeed there. And if we were to, for example, drag and drop that into, let's say, our Ferg club shot, we can drag and drop that, and just like that, it will come up with a transparent background, and we can actually go ahead and drag this out via the adjustments, press Enter to save it, and we have ourselves a fully transparent image, fully transparent text called Very Fashion logo, which has clearly appeared down here based on the fact that we exported it using the right file type. Other popular file types, if we load stuff up right here, is going to be stuff like the main ones, just so you know, for me, is going to be PSD, it's going to be JPEG, and it's going to be PNG. Alternatively, when we go a little bit deeper in here, we are going to start exploring some GIFs and other stuff. But right now, all I want you guys to familiarize yourself with is 3 simple file types, and that would be Photoshop, PSD files, right? Project files, if you will. You're going to want to, you're going to have a PSD for every single project we work on. In fact, I think it would be a good idea to go back here to our sample file, press Control S, Control Shift S, and actually go ahead and save this as our project file sample, and actually go ahead and save that just like that. It has completely saved, and the name at the top has been renamed to the appropriate name that we called it, which was project file sample, and we created a PDF, meaning that if we were to shut this program down, or even shut that down, and shut everything down, I'll just shut everything down, it would appear, and in fact, it would now pop up in our recents, being the fact that we have now created a recent file, and we can go ahead and click that, load it up, and that right there completes file types in Adobe Photoshop. What we're going to do is crack on with the rest of the class coming up. It's about to get seriously interesting. I hope you guys are understanding the gist of the program so far. You've understood the absolute basics on top of basics. Let's get to the real meat on the bones coming up next. Let's do it.